All right, thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We just have a matter of minutes until we close this conversation, but we will utilize the time as much as we can. I'm still in studio with very key voices, Ishmael Nyaribo, a lawyer, and Dismas Mokua, a political analyst, dissecting this twists and turns in politics. Some are saying it's very sweet, some are saying it's very scary based on development. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki just spoke and said, could you please focus on delivery? And if you want to criticize the same government you are in, he has advised all of those people to step out and criticize from the outside, also emphasizing that he has no business being drawn into local politics or responding to people who are anti-President William Ruto, saying he's a one-term president. In fact, if I say it in summary, he said, Musitu Tishe. All right? But let's listen in to the words of Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who also served as the second deputy president of the country, vice president in that time. Listen in.
We are telling IBC Secretariat, you will not move one step. We will come for you if you try to do this. You must wait for a properly constituted IEBC. That is where Azumio lost it, by the way. Remember, they procured a printing farm in Greece. By the time kina Uhuru na hao wengine walileta the extra 4, remember the Cherera 4, they were there, hawajui what is happening, things had already happened, they had procured materials in advance of these people arriving. So this time, we cannot afford, in my view, to allow these people any space to manipulate, to steal, to mess up with 2027. That's why some of them are saying they know how to manufacture presidents in excess of 24 years.
Now, you see, Duale's, responded to Kalonzo, gentlemen, and said, it is not Kenya Kwanza that is voting. It's not President William Ruto, but the electorates. And one of them is watching today. I just want to pick it from there. If I quote, he said, we hope President Ruto is not going to register aliens as voters. We suspect there could be a plan underway to register aliens and not Kenyans as voters. Quite interesting remarks to make just a few years shy when you're trying to put together an IEBC. How do you think Kenyans are viewing this? Can we have an honest and fair election?
Let's be honest, and I know Dismas will agree with me on this, but now that he seems to be sympathizing with his friends in government, he is a bit slow. He is going slow on them. But the truth is, there is every single card is on the table when you are contesting for presidency. Every card. And let's be honest, every single card. Mm-hmm. And we are not every single card. That's why you see people die, you see people disappear, you see people fight, you see people lose jobs. Every card is on the table. And it depends, and it's important your viewers understand this, that you may make all these comments on social media, whatever you say, maybe you know, you don't know. Every card is on the table in matters presidential elections because it's about the mood and spirit of in fact, it's about the life of a nation. So, you saw what happened in America during campaigns. Every single card is considerable. I am not saying it's positive, I'm just saying things happen. So, if Kalonzo Musyoka is going to be on the microphone to say, oh, we hope you don't go to Italy to steal, then he's not an accurate person to lead the nation. People like Gachagua then now come in. They are like, we know what you want to do, we will stop you. So there is no time, like I said, for boardroom or microphone lecturing. There is need to move forward immediately to match the tempo and the speed of William Ruto. By the way, today is 2025, no one has done that. Let's be honest. And if a marathon has begun, you cannot be a spectator. If you are actually supposed to run from 6 a.m., the normal marathons we do in the country, you must be in the field at 6 a.m. So you cannot wait until 2026 we don't want to show our card, we want to organize ourselves. And Ruto has done the first marathon. And then you say, now we have to beat him. So this issue of saying, he will go to Italy, he will go somewhere, he will do this, and he should be checked by serious political opponents. By doing what? By doing what Rigathi Gachagua is doing. But if you are going to hide your intentions, your language, and then in 2026 you say, this guy has played us, But he was supposed to play, politically speaking, he's supposed to dodge and score.
Okay.
So for me, honestly, if people want to contest for presidency, have not entered the ring to date, they should be prepared to frustrate their supporters.
Interesting, because I want to hear from Dismas.
No, it's not what I want, but it's really what is the truth. If you've not gone into the ring, you're explaining how Ruto is operating and how he's agreeing with Raila and how now we have been betrayed. That is not a strategy. You know, that's my problem.
You know, last year we saw a big, huge, strong, huge. I mean, globally, it was a matter of conversation. The Gen Zs came out, you know, and there was a shake-up, clearly. Now, someone would ask, 2027, I mean, whose agenda is going to take the day? The Gen Zs said, we are going to shape this place. We're troubleless. No more tribal conversations. We'll be checking, you know, for accountability, integrity, as enshrined in the Constitution. Now, if he's saying Kalonzo Musyoka, based on certain remarks, will not fit, Rigathi Gachagua, based on certain things, will not. I mean, who's the alternative voice? Raila Odinga might take the AUC or might not. What are you foreseeing, really? Or do you think there's a certain person who might not have gotten into the ring yet, but Gen Zs will be behind for a turnover?
You've earlier on, you described them as a broad-based opposition. And all the people who are in Chui House, all of them have expressed their interest in the presidency. There is Eugene Wamalwa, there is the impeached deputy president, and understand when you've been impeached, then you have no capacity to run. Then there is Kalonzo Musyoka, and then they said Matiang'i is part of the list. There may be another 10 people crawling from the woodwork saying they want to be presidential candidates. Now tell me, will Kalonzo step down for any of those people? You remember last time it took President Kenyatta's intervention to have him, you know, suspend his presidential interest. So this time round, do you think Kalonzo would step down, say, for, say, Justice David Maraga, if he wants to run?
Okay.
Kalonzo will be there to the hills. So, in other words, all these people who say they want to run against President Ruto, nobody has demonstrated capacity and competence to run against President Ruto. Nobody has organized himself to run against President Ruto. But what they are doing right now is engaging in disinformation and misinformation, which has given President Ruto a blank check to set up a narrative. A few days ago, he said that he's going to be running against his record. Yeah, that's what he said. He's going to be running against his record. And when they said that you started campaigning, he said, wait a minute. Right now, I'm talking about last mile connectivity. I'm talking about infrastructure, giving people in Western Kenya, sugarcane farmers. For the first time, they've received a bonus, sugar bonus. Most of the time in Kenya, we are about tea and coffee bonus, but the people in Western Kenya now have received a bonus. So he said he's going to be running against his record. Well, what is that the people are giving us is what in common parlance is called story ajaba. They are not addressing the critical issues which affect people. And you know, the typical voter is both emotional and rational.
All right.
If you want to form a solid winning combination, you behave like Donald Trump. You make sure that people understand the logic of your campaign, the logic of your messaging, and at the same time, they develop an emotional connection to you. That is why in the US, when Donald Trump said, I love this word called tariffs. It's a beautiful word. In ordinary English, tariff translates to increased prices. But people said, wait a minute, they already have an emotional connection with Trump. They said, even if you work on the tariffs, it's for a short term, we are happy with that. So essentially created that emotional and rational connection.
Okay.
And that is what our President Ruto right now is doing with the Kenyans. While these people are outside here telling us that we are going to register aliens. I mean, we know for a fact that it's practically impossible if you're not a registered Kenyan to vote. And then we've got this team, the IBC Selection Committee, made up of very solid Kenyans, solid professionals who have a singular constitutional mandate that attracts the best talent in Kenya to manage elections. And the responsibility is going to be on IBC again to go to the top of Mount Kenya or Kilimanjaro and tell people that they've created predictable systems for unpredictable outcomes. Even during the last election, we complained about IBC that they have allergy to communications. They don't tell us the systems they've created. Now, if you don't tell us the systems you've created, that they're bulletproof, then the person who doesn't win can go to town and say this election has been stolen. So it's incumbent for this IBC selection committee to identify talent. I know we've had a tragedy with the IBC. Majority of solid guys, like the gentleman on my left, he will not apply to be an IBC commissioner because he knows if he becomes an IBC commissioner, it's going to be career suicide. So this IBC selection committee must, I mean, you know, by the way, I say this with all due respect.
Because then you're probably scaring people, who want to apply.
No, but the IBC selection committee now needs to create that environment. I'm sorry to say this, but in the past elections, we have not had Kenya's top talent, fine talent. This gentleman here, international standing, masters in law, he understands the legal framework in Kenya,
all right,
but he will not apply for that job.
I'll tell you.
Let me hear from him.
This must have made, thank you for the accolades. I mean, that's a fact. But the issue about William Ruto running against his own record could be misunderstood in very, very bad ways. Because when you see William Ruto talking about, you know, economy stabilizing and bringing interest rates down, this is factual. Yes, you can look at the Treasury report and all that, and also the World Bank. They consider that, yes, the country is trying to manage its debt. That does not resonate with the Mama Mboga. Are you getting the point? That is true. It could be stabilizing the debts we take and the interest we pay, because we have stabilized how we pay the debt. World Bank may like us. Mama Mboga does not understand that concept. And that's why when Uhuru Kenyatta was in power, he introduced subsidies. Much as subsidies then were hurting the economy in terms of debt, Mama Mboga was happy that, hey, you know, our fuel is coming down, now we are happy. So if right now, actually, William Ruto goes to elections today, the people are saying, no, we do not know who is winning, but we know who is losing.
Okay.
The problem, and I said this, the problem is the opposition has not organized themselves to tap into this type of, you know, into this mood of the people. So that's why William Ruto is enjoying. It's not because he has done so well that people actually might vote for him. It is because they do not have anyone else who has come up. Today, as I told you, regarding his impeachment issue, Kalonzo has not come out strongly. We do not know whether in that Chui group, whatever they call it, is the one they will. We don't know if it is Fred Matiang'i they will bring. He has not even declared. He has not come from the boardroom.
As we close, yes.
So I think really William Ruto cannot run against the track record, to be honest. And as you know, the more voters are people who are not logical like you and me. Voters are just like, how much are you bringing to us? Now we will vote. So, and even the Gen Z issue, because of time, we won't discuss, but the truth is, they ought to organize themselves into a body. Do you know why we have a Kirauni? Do you know why we go to the courts? Do you know why we go to church and we have a podium? It is because leadership is like that. There must be somebody standing ahead who we are looking to. So who we are looking up to. So if the Gen Z are saying, and you see how actually they lost, after a very strong fight, they easily, you know, fizzled out because they didn't have a leader. So we, the country as an opposition do not have a proper candidate, and that's the major problem.
So at this point, no proper candidate. This was only 20 seconds. Can you manage that?
Yes. You know, Ishmael has become very logical at the tail end of the conversation. That you may have very good economic indicators, parameters, interest rates coming down, inflation coming down, but you can lose the election. Look at Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. She lost the election despite the fact that the economy was doing very well because she did not create emotional connection with the voters.
Interesting.
If you have emotional connection with the voters and the economy is doing poorly, they will still elect you.
So seek the emotional connection. Do they have it? The candidates you have seen, President William Ruto and his group, and those who are now fronting themselves as candidates, do they have it? I'll leave it at that. I want to appreciate Ishmael Nyaribo, a lawyer, and Dismas Mokua, political analyst, for creating time to be here. Damien Evans was on sign language. Thank you very much to the team that made this happen. My name is Anki Dorison. But remember, the government is best, which governs least. Somebody said that. Who'd have thought? Have a good night.